All right, so it's finally time. A new massive patch for Strive. What's the tier list going to be? How much has it changed? What are we going to do now? Mind you, this is still really early. And what is my general impressions of the patch? Like, let me just talk a little bit about that. Overall, this has definitely been one of the biggest improvements in Strive history. Like, it's been probably the best overall single patch. There's been a lot of things that they did right. There's not that many bad changes, honestly, which is very impressive, considering how many characters they changed. And in general, it's like the biggest reversal of momentum the game has ever had, because 4.0, 4.1, or whatever you want to call the patch, was such a downward spiral. Like, bugs, like insane buffs and nerfs, like it just felt very unfinished. And this is the first patch that not only has it introduced rank, which was great, but it's also just lowered the power level a lot. Even season 3 was a very, very bad patch. I mean, bad season in terms of balance patches. So it's nice to see that, like, maybe there is some hope again, in Strive community. It's been very nice to see. And I'm just sad that, like, they let the game be so bad for so long when we could have had good patches the entire time. You know, like that's maybe that's like very depressing to say, but like I almost started to think that the game wasn't just never good, and it was always season 3 and season 4, and I'm just mad because, like, I don't know, like I got tired of it or something. And then they changed some things around, and I'm like, holy shit, this game is fun. Like, it's not the best game. It's not even arguably good balance-wise, but, like, it's fun, right? And that's something I could not have said just a month ago. So this is probably the hardest to rank tier list we've ever seen. It's not only is the meta still fresh, but we also just don't really know who the bad characters are, and who, you know, like, the top is actually more clear, I think, than the middle and low tier. And it's also the closest the worst character has been to the number 2 character, without question, right? Like, number 2, number 3 to bottom 1, bottom 2 is, like, actually really close compared to every other season, which is very cool because it means you can play any character. Unfortunately, there's only one character you want to play if you just want to win at all costs, but thankfully, I guess, there isn't really that much prize money or reason to, like, just pick the top tier even if you hate them. So you at least get a decent variety in terms of who you face on ranked and such like that. And it's more on which characters are popular rather than which characters are broken right now, because Strive players, they don't tend to switch mains between every patch. That said, I'm going to do my best to rank things. For the most part, this tier list will not really be ordered. Outside of the top tier, maybe. And I'll basically just try to talk about, like, characters in general strengths, how they're going to better, how they're going to buffed, what do they still need, etc. And how they are affected by the system changes. Because the system changes are overall the bigger change, in my opinion. Some characters got really big character changes, like mostly low tiers getting buffed, and Johnny, who got nerfed. But for the most part, I actually think that the hard thing about why it's so hard to predict who the best characters or like the mid or high tiers are is because so much of the movement in tier lists is just because of, oh, this character didn't get many changes, but they used the system mechanics better now, and the system mechanics were changed, and that's why they're a lot better, right? A general trend you will see in this tier list is that blue Wild Assault character, which used to have the by far worst one, especially in season 3, Wild Assault, now arguably have the best one. And a couple characters, the ones that can use Blue Assault very well, often tend to be, for me at least, among the best characters. So there's some exceptions. You're not, like, White Wild Assault and Red Wild Assault are not bad, but it almost felt as if the Blue Wild Assault characters were sometimes designed a little bit, like, the last couple of years were almost balanced around the fact that they had the worst Wild Assault. Now that they no longer do, it almost feels as if, you know, they just, like, they're starting to shine again, whereas those characters were in general, not very good. Like, heavies plus red wild soul characters have really ruled the meta for the last couple years. All right, let's get going. I think I might have to move some characters around, but let's start with the bottom. Lucy. I think Lucy's the worst character in the game by like a pretty clear margin too. This has been a very funny DLC tradition that the first DLC character is just like bad and underpowered compared to everyone else. Lucy doesn't have enough moves. Honestly, I think that's like, honestly, her number one issue is that like she has gunshot, which like takes up a special, and she in general just doesn't have that many special moves. She's very fast. She's a broken backdash. Hack super is okay. Like it's like hack super is very good at what it does. It's just that like it's not good enough to be the center of a character, right? Like it can't be. It's not strong enough of a mechanic because it's not even close to the best super in the game, right? It's no Gigantic High, right? It's not even like Bedman install super. It's not Asuka reroll. Like there's so many better supers in this game. Jacko, minion supers, etc. that like just are way more forcing. Lucy's hack super is kind of a win more super. It doesn't really help you open people up that much. The invisibility and like the life drain, the risk changes don't change much. That said, Lucy is not a bad character. And this is what I said, that Lucy probably shouldn't be in F tier, right? This is probably just C-, because I'm personally pretty sure she's the worst character. But obviously she's very new, so naturally Lucy has a very big range of movement because she can develop more than most. But I actually don't think she's very hard to play, and I don't think she's actually that deep. So personally, I will have her low. Cool. If you think she's good, I mean, by all means play her. I will say that almost every single good player, I think every single good player has dropped her. Let me look at that. Now we have a website now so we can see who the best ranked characters are. Let's see. Yeah, it seems like Shirara is the only one really playing her still, but I'm pretty sure he's only playing her for fun, not like an actual main. Outside of that, the top couple Lucy's is just people that have already dropped her. So after Lucy, it becomes really fucking hard to guess the next character because there isn't a obvious next character. Before it was Venom, then Dizzy, then Zato. In like 90% of tier lists, this was the order. Venom, Dizzy, and Zato are all blue wild soul characters. They're all soners in some regards, so they all get massively buffed by system changes, and they all got massive character changes. So none of them, in my opinion, are bottom 3. I actually think all of them are quite a bit above it, with the exception of Venom. But I'm going to put Venom in this tier still, not because I'm sure of him. I think he's probably the least developed, like the character with the most amount to grow still. There's like no good Venom players that main him. Like, I'm not exaggerating. Like, he is easily the least optimized character. If you look at the ratings, there's only one player above 1700 with Venom right now, and only 4 people total above 1600, which is like insanely low. Insanely low for the best of a character. So we honestly cannot know how good Venom is because there isn't a player good enough to be a top level threat, regardless of if he was the best character in the game. What I will say is that his buffs, while they are huge, like how much more damage he does, the consistency on things, they still feel like they don't change his character concept. He still can't really convert from his far slash and stuff like that. He doesn't kill you far range far slash. He doesn't have that many good anti-airs. He's still not the fastest, you know. He doesn't wall break you of 2p. But he does have like really solid mix-ups, and unfortunately, he has one of the worst blue wall assaults, like probably the single worst blue wall assault, maybe wall assault usage in general. So that definitely drags him down a bit. But I think Venom versus every single character that he can zone is really strong now. Like Stinger and his ball setups for zoning is ridiculously good if you have to get to him. If he has to get to you, if he's playing against like Axel or, you know, whoever, then it actually becomes a really big issue, that the fact that he's pretty slow and his game plan is built around putting balls up and having them like just cover the screen. We'll have to see. I'll have him lower for now, but I could easily see myself change this. After that, dude, I don't know, man. It's like, I don't think he's the worst either. This is like, it's like seriously hard. Okay, chat. Who do you guys think? Who do you guys think? Faust, Elphelt, Testament, Bedman is nowhere near here. I think the true reality is that Faust, Bedman, and Testament are some of the least played characters, especially by good players. So that's why a lot of people think they're bad. Pot. All right, man. I do not think that I do not think either character is here, except I can see Faust. I can still see Faust. I don't know though, but I think Faust relied more on super POC than most. But his character buffs are nice, even though they're slightly more quality of life than anything else. And he massively benefits from the wrist changes. He massively benefits from the blue wall assault being the best. But I just think that like he doesn't love the YC change because he had a very good YC before, and now you can YC during like meteors and shit. So I would probably say Faust, but I'm not sure about this one. And that says a lot about the balance, like just how hard it is. How fucking hard it is. I'm gonna put another character next. I think I might make a question tier. I'm gonna make a question mark. Yeah, the other character I don't know about is Axel. Axel has one of the worst player bases. And it's just really fucking hard to understand how good he is, because he's so underdeveloped and so underlabbed. And I genuinely think that a lot of his tools now are just incredible. I think he's probably mid or high tier, but with some incredibly good top tier matchups. If a character beats Potemkin this patch, it's probably Axel. That's my genuine opinion. I don't think he beats Potemkin, but if there is one, I think he's the front runner. It's kind of insane. Like, this character's just so underdeveloped, and he's not really a character that needs to develop that much, but he's still underdeveloped. He does a shit ton of damage from everything now. Massively benefits from the YC changes. Massively benefits from the wrist change. Massively benefits from the like wild assault on block, because he didn't really need to wild assault on block that much, but he really suffered against wild assault on block. Benefits from nerfs to Johnny and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. It's very hard. I might be crazy. I probably am crazy. I think I'm gonna put Geo here. I think Geo kind of sucks. This is the one thing I'll give Jonathan Tene. I actually agree with him. I think Geo kind of sucks. Not sucks. Still very good. Still very good. But like, I think in a meta game where there is like 30 viable characters, the fact that even if you don't know the matchup against Geo, you don't auto lose versus her is a really big problem for her. Like, you can be bad against Geo, and your bad against Geo will not come close to how much they can exploit that compared to if you're bad against Dizzy, Venom, Axel, right? She has some knowledge checks, and she's definitely not bad, but I think she kind of wanted Wild Assault on block. I think that especially the risk change is massive for Geo. She basically always hit you with risk. And for those that don't know, like if you get hit with a lot of risk now, or even a little bit of risk, your combos just do significantly less damage. She also doesn't have like crazy meter spans to skip neutral or anything. Like her super's fine, but like that's it. Her super's honestly like a worse version of just quick BRC. So I think not having metered neutral skips in this type of game is a pretty big negative. And I think a lot of other characters just do what she wants to do, but better. This could be very wrong, though, because one of the best characters in this patch, spoilers, is Chipp. And maybe she just looks really, really bad compared to how broken Chipp is. But maybe she's bad Chipp, but, like, still top tier. Or, I don't know. I don't think so. Like, it's kind of weird to get over the fact that, like, Chipp doesn't do that much less damage. Has way better block pressure, way better neutral, way more gimmicks, mental stack, DP on defense, like Wreck of the Gods, like yeah. And Geo just has like a special move that like her main special move is still IBable into punish, which yes, it's hard and you have to read them, but like still, like you actually have to risk things with Geo. Elphelt, maybe. But this is another character I honestly want to put in question mark. Because, like, we don't know, bro. Like, do we genuinely know? I don't think so. I really don't think so. Like, Elphelt has... We did a check last time. Last time we checked, like, Venom and Axel are easily the worst player bases in the entire game. In terms of, like, who the best, highest ranked Elphelt player is, the highest ranked Venom compared to everyone else. There's not a single great player on Elphelt right now, and there's not a single great player on Venom right now. Like, when I say great, I mean, like, major winning threat, right? If Gobo played Venom full-time again, then he would be one. She's definitely not trash. She's definitely not bad. She's extremely fucking cancer. Thank God she didn't get buffed more, but, like, I think... the bomb change makes her offense, like her win con, a little bit worse. Not even a lot. You should be getting hit during it anyway. And I think the red wild assault change hurts her because she fixed a lot of her block strings with those. I think there hasn't been a single Elphelt player that I played against that actually seemed like this player has really figured out how to like maximize this character. So I could easily be wrong about this one. And I think at this point we just don't know. The player base is just too weak. I'm sorry. Like, that sounds really mean, but I think, like, when was the last time you saw an Elphelt on top 8? I don't even think it's happened. like an offline top 8. No point in using her bomb super. Okay, you are a troll. No point in using the bomb super. What the fuck? The bomb super literally got buffed mid-screen too. She got, like, kind of birthed. I think Testament could be here. But are they? I don't know, man. I kind of don't think so. I feel like Testament is also one of those people that lacks a true dedicated player that's like amazing on them. That like goes to tournaments a lot. Like we've had Simfukai and Fubuki, but they don't really attend much. I don't know. It's so hard to say, man. Like it's generally so hard to say. I think Testament though is also one of those characters that you don't auto lose to if you don't know the matchup, so that probably puts them lower. But to be clear, like I don't really know. I genuinely don't know. Some of their buffs were good, but I think they lost a little bit on the Red Wall Assault thing. Because they can't always confirm Red Wall Assault, but they do really benefit from other people not using Red Wall Assault on them as well. So, your mileage may vary, honestly. Who's next? Jeez, this is hard. I think that's probably the last character we will have in C tier. I think for the first character I'll place and talk about at least, I'll probably try to rearrange these later, is Baiken. Baiken is probably one of the most downplayed characters in my opinion. I think she's really strong still, despite being in B, but like B tier is gonna be massive, spoilers. And I think she really benefits from a lot of the changes, like the blue wall assault change, or like blue wall assault being the best. In general, like, yeah, she has some issues, but I don't think she has any impossible matchups. Her only real issue, in my opinion, is that she's not super stable. So I could see her be like on the lower end of B tier because of that, but I also don't really think so. I don't know. The real question, in my opinion, is what if a Baiken player actually gets good at the parries? And I know how the parry works. I know the buffer, blah, blah, blah. I don't think any Baiken has truly gotten all the way there in utilizing her parry, while also keep being good at the other shit. So I'll probably put her around here. Next up, we're going to talk about a character that I don't know how to place. Abba. I think solo main Abba is clear C tier. I think solo main Abba has matchups that are worse than Geo and Elphelt and Testament, but they also have some of the better top tier matchups at the same time. But in my opinion, the way I think is that you should, if you rate them solo, right? A lot of Abba's worst matchups, like, like all the Soners, whether it's like Chaos, Asuka, I think Zato's pretty bad for them. Not like horrible, but like Zato favor. Axel, these type of characters, like they are, maybe Venom. I actually don't know about Venom. Venom can honestly be Abba favor. But like Sonar types in general are more common this patch, and they all went up during this patch. So if you want to play Abba, you need to have a better secondary than before, and you might need to use her in less matchups. But she actually did become stronger herself. So this is why I'm really struggling to know where to place her, because her power level went up, which makes it really hard to be like, where do I put her? I'd probably put her average on a B, but if you're doing true solo main Abba, she's probably in C. That's my opinion. I'm curious as to what like Tiger Pop and Besh and Gobo and all these other people think, because I do think that she's like a really good counterpick character, and she's one of the biggest counterpick characters in the game. She does really benefit from Johnny though. Like Johnny getting nerfed so much is probably one of the biggest, improvements to Abba. Who's next? I think next up we'll have Dizzy. I don't know about this character either, but I think she's minimum B tier. She's really fucking good if you don't know the matchup, and I think even if you do now, she can still just win if she counter hits you twice. This is not a pixie character, by the way. Like, she's fast and she's zones, but she actually has like average health, which is a mistake a lot of people assume. Her buffs, in my opinion, are more important than Venom, because she got crucial fixes to her 4-slash and 2S. Her Icicle's better. Michael S Sword is just like an incredible knockdown now instead of like a really whatever one, which helps her sequence into wings more. She has blue wall assault. Like, I don't know. It's really hard to rate her again because there's just no amazing player on DC who actually attends offline tournaments. Yes, I know that there's someone in NA who's good with Dizzy, but they're not at major winning level offline, at least proven. But we'll see. It's gonna be curious because it's also one of those things where it's like, are people just bad against Dizzy? Is that why is she actually down here? But people just suck against her. That could be the case, but I think if you're picking Dizzy right now, given the fact that no one knows how to play her, at least she's definitely not in this tier because she's like a real pipe bomb. You actually need to learn how to play against this character, or you could lose to Dizzy very easily. Who's next? I'm gonna put Johnny here. I think Johnny's B tier now. I don't know if he's down here. He's really hard to rate. I think Johnny now is one of those characters with actual bad matchups again. But a lot of his strengths, once he gets the first hit, he's still really good. But a lot of his strength just has gone down in general, in my opinion, because the dash change is actually like such an insane change. The backdash nerf is huge too. But he still does the same damage. He still has the same low. Once he gets one hit, he can snowball pretty easily. Forward dash is probably somehow still less nerfed than the backdash. Because the backdash just does not feel that scary anymore. Vault is a lot worse too. Before it used to give you like one of the best mix-ups in the entire game on block, and now it's like an okay one. Like it's still high-low one, the guard crushes, but it's a lot easier. Like it's just one now. It's not several layers of high-low. He also lost Super PRC. So yeah, we'll have to see. Some of his buffs are pretty interesting too. Like Faust is going to S-Miss Finder and 5H pushing back more. But my personal opinion is that he's B tier now and not A or S. Next up, I think I'm gonna place. Who do I think? I think Jacko. I think Jacko's around here. Johnny's probably better than Jacko. I think Jacko is here because unlike the other Soners that got buffed in the patch, some of her bad matchups became more common. She sucks against Axel. She's not good against HC. She's not good against Asuka. All those characters are way better this patch, right? She also is the Soner that relied the most on risk because she would just crank your wrist to 1 gazillion in the corner and then hit you once, right? She still kind of struggles a little bit with, just like fighting neutral versus some characters like Ram. Even though they don't zone her, she just doesn't have the big like fuck you mid-height poke. Yeah, I think she's around here, but like she's definitely not bad. B tier is quite good. Who else is down here? I think Bedman's probably around here too, but this character's also really slept on, I think. I don't think Bedman is bad by any means. Has some really good matchups too. But it's another character that could, not amazing versus like Chaos and Asuka, Axel, like the Soners. It also gets shit on by Pot, so yeah, that's rough. But doesn't have to face Johnny as much anymore, so that's good. Can take Toto's one. I'll try to hurry up with the tier list. It might be a little bit, but not too long. Like, I'll hurry. Who's next? I think Unika's here. Unika's really hard to rate too, because there's also no amazing player on Unika, like going to shit. So we could be really wrong about her, but I also think she's like, her speed is not, it's a fake weakness overall, except versus the Soners. And again, as we said many times already, the characters that keep away are actually much stronger this patch. So that's why I would personally put them here. But this is another one where it's like, it's just her reward is so high that maybe she just doesn't give a fuck. The fact that she gets zoned versus some characters because she just gets in once. But I think she's probably around here. Next up, I will put It's Bridget. I think Bridget is good, much better than before because the power level went down. But I personally don't really see her being like top tier now. So I'll probably put her here just because her reward is still lower. Like, yes, she got some damage buffs, but she didn't get like any crazy buffs. And a lot of the other characters around here that aren't nerfed top tiers, like Johnny, like Dizzy, Jacko, like they kind of got more, just slightly more by the character buffs or by the system changes. So I'll probably put her down here, but I could be wrong on this one. This is another case where there's no super amazing Bridget player, so that like pushes her to the limit. So yeah, I'll probably put her here. Next up, we're kind of starting to run out of bad like characters that I even think are on the weaker end. I think we have to move on to A tier. I think Slayer is among the weaker characters. In A tier. He lost some stuff in the patch, mainly due to risk changes, in my opinion. I think his character buffs are overall a buff, because he can do K-Mappa on 2P, and he can do Master Hammer into Oki. But it is easier to punish his Master Hammer if you do jump it. And overall, the fact that you take less damage is bad for Slayer because his neutral is among the weaker ones, even though it's still giga ignorant. So I'll probably put him here. But, you know, he's definitely not bad by any means. Ooh, who's next? I think I'll put Ino here. I might be wrong on her, but, like, she does seem like she also got a little bit nerfed in the patch. But that could also just be the Ino players yelling very, very, very loudly. So, who knows, really? I need to watch more Daru, honestly. She's also kind of a question mark for me. I think she's good, but just not the best, you know? Kind of that tier. Next up, I think we might have to put Kai. Or Soul. Or Sin. Or Sin. I don't know how to place these three characters. I feel like the best Shoto or traditional character outside of Chipp is very close now. If gun to my head, I might say Sin as the worst one. Gun to my head. But it's really hard to know because it honestly could be one of those things where the Sin players just never had to think before. And now that they have to think a little bit, they actually become brain buffed and become better players. I could see that very, very, very likely. Soul, on the other hand, I think is like definitely nerfed for some of the system mechanics, but I think his core kit is just so solid, especially now that Fafnir is barely minus, that he's probably around here. Tatsuma is still winning tournaments. He won the first real big tournament on this one, tournament in Asia called Arc Revo. So this tier A is like, it's not could win a tournament, it's wins tournaments, right? B tier is not even like bad either, or neither is C tier, right? Who's next? Kai. Kai, also a pretty big question mark. I think I have to see a bit more of him. I think he's a lot better than he used to be because of other characters going down. But what I said about Geo comes to mind, where like you're never shitting your pants because you run into Kai in a bracket, right? Because everyone kind of knows the Kai matchup. Kind of. Right? Like, he doesn't shock you. Well, pun not intended. Yeah, he does shock you, but like, he doesn't surprise you with something you've never seen before that instantly kills you. He mostly plays pretty basic Strive, and I think in such a balanced version, that's my thesis, that like characters that don't make you make a lot of weird decisions and can't knowledge check you aren't not as strong as they usually are. Next up, we're gonna have Zato. I think Zato is much better. And honestly, I thought he was not that bad last patch after playing him more. I said this while I was still playing pre-patch. I thought that he was like guaranteed bottom 3 was honestly a little bit exaggerated. But he's a really hard character to rank because, one, he's one of the biggest matchup checks that you have to learn. If you don't know the matchup, he is like probably 2 tiers better than he should be, or maybe 1.5, right? Like, but the way I see it is that now that there's so many more viable characters, it's really different. You can't really expect people to be masters of the Zato matchup anymore, like you should have been back when Zato was like a staple in top 8, right? When there were 3 Satos in top 8. Then you needed to know the matchup. And if you didn't know the Zato matchup, that's on you. But now, when there's 30 viable characters, not knowing the Zato matchup, especially when he hasn't been, like, you know, good, I think it's pretty hard, man. Whether or not he's better than Soul, I would probably put him, like, here. If I had to honestly guess. But I think he's pretty strong now, man. I think he's, like, you know, right in the middle or slightly above the middle when it comes to characters. Even when you know the matchup. And if you don't know the matchup, then he can jump up to, like, out of top 10, like, top 10, you know, 11th, 12th hardest character to fight if you don't know the matchup super well. The Zato bros will hate me for saying this. I've been playing a lot of Zato. He's actually my most played character this patch. I'm still really rusty with him, but I'm still, in my opinion, doing very well, beating a lot of top players in EU with Zato. And winning the Zato mirror. And I'll be real, when I fight Satos in the Zato mirror, it doesn't feel that much harder than when I play Chaos. Sometimes it actually feels like the matchup might be better with Zato than other characters versus Zato. But I digress. I still think Zato has issues versus some of the top tiers like Ram, Mei, Chipp, and Leo. So that's the main reason he's bad. But if you make a bracket that's not super top heavy, and Pod, of course, then I think Zato has like a real serious robbery potential. And I think it's really hard to place him still because we still don't know how good the new move is. Maybe by the time we get good with the new move, he still goes down overall because, you know, people get better against Zato again, but who knows? Yeah, I could definitely see Zato winning a major right now. I think I could win a major on Zato. Like, I might have to counterpick like 2 matchups, but like, I don't think that makes it so that the character's unviable. Next up, we're gonna have Millia. I think Millia's been a lot better. I don't think she's top 10 still, for a very simple reason. She still throws herself at the opponent. She doesn't have a single matchup that it's like impossible outside of Pot, but throwing yourself at characters like Anji, Nago, Goldlewis, Mei, you can beat them, but can you beat them consistently? Can a Millia player consistently beat someone who plays a heavy and like can win in one turn? I don't know about that. Maybe, but I think she's more robbable than some of the other characters with really fucked up offense. But her buffs are great, man. She's maybe the biggest winner of the system mechanics in terms of like, she never cared about cranking risk, and her risk got cranked all the time because she didn't have, you know, like a Mason reversal or anything. She had to block a lot. But you can't really block her. New Artemis is an amazing tool. S-Disc fixes so many of her combos. She's no longer low damage. She's just low health. But yeah, she doesn't have that like stability, I would say, of some of the other fucked up offense characters, or like pixie characters with low health. And I think I'm going to put Anji here. I could be wrong about Anji. Anji could be higher, honestly. But I think Anji is the last character. It's one of those characters where it's like, it's really hard to know how good this character is. But I think the fish nerf does matter versus the sonars. And the sonars are better this patch, right? So like a tiny nerf, but a nerf that matters a bit more. The 2H buff is honestly kind of nothing. I don't think it's a big deal. And I think the risk nerf to Anji, even though Rin does more damage now when you have high risk, I just think the fact that you don't explode while blocking Anji and the fact that he literally builds for less risk when he's spamming Fujin on you is like a really big deal. Yeah, like Rin's better, but I think all the other specials are worse. But, you know, I haven't played much against Anji, so my placement on him is weird. And again, these are not really seriously ordered. This is more like general vibe. It's really hard to rate characters. So just think of this as like estimations. A tier, Anji to Slayer is like barely any different. These are just the characters that come to mind, but that doesn't necessarily mean that like I necessarily put Sin behind, you know, or whatever. Next up, I will place Asuka. I think Asuka is maybe S. Like this character is so fucked up. There's no amazing Asuka player, so that's why we don't know. He should honestly be in the question mark tier, but I'm kind of reserving that for characters that we don't like. I with very, very, very high degree of certainty think Asuka is A tier or better. So that's why I don't want to put him in question mark, because he could very easily be S tier in my opinion, or A tier, and putting him as like an unproven theory when we know that he's at least great is weird to me. Yeah, I don't really know why someone ever thought this character got nuked. Like, yeah, he got some nerfs to some of his best cards, but his core mechanic, his cubes have not been touched since the beginning of season 3.5, where they made the cubes slower. His normals are still like the same, right? Like his health did not get buffed in season 4. That's probably like if you're thinking of an Asuka nerf, that's probably the change you're thinking about. His health did not get buffed, but he still has the highest health in the game when he has mana. And his reroll super was reworked in season 4 to where you could switch test cases, but it costs more mana to do it. Now they have remade reroll super, so you can reroll and change cards. Test cases, but it still costs the same amount of mana or very similar amount of mana as it used to cost before. So now it's just a straight buff. Like his reroll got Potemkin buffed, where like they buffed it to compensate for the nerf, and then they like just gave him the old stuff back too. Test case 2 is really good now. His overhead spell has always been broken. Like really hard to see overhead that like is +4 on block with like 0 real counterplay outside of like try to react to it, and even if you do, you're minus. One of the biggest changes is that obviously Asuka hella benefits from all the changes, like the YC change. He never built risk, but characters built a lot of risk on him. All that stuff, right? There's a hidden benefit to Asuka that I think, at least I'm pretty sure about this. I could be wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong in the comments, but Asuka mana is decided by damage, right? Like how much his shield holds up and how much, you know, mana he loses is decided by how much damage he takes, right? Now that the risk means that he, you know, if he blocks something and then gets hit, he takes way less damage than before. And you can't use Wild Assault and stuff like that as freely. So the damage in general has gone down and the power level has gone down. He gets a lot better, man. Like, you like do close on his block, and then he mashes and you counter hit him and you do like 30% and 30% mana. Whereas before that was like 60% sometimes, and like a wall break plus a fucking mana shield break. Yeah, you know what? I don't trust my gut on this. I think he's somewhere in S. I'll say it, man. I'll play this character too. He's broken, man. I think the thing that puts him here over these characters is that when you face a solo bracket, yeah, you can get knowledge checked with Kai. You can get knowledge checked with Millia. Oh, she's very fast. She's very hard to keep track of. Anji, you can never be sure against Anji. Anyone can lose to Anji. The best player on God's planet could lose to a dogshit Anji, and no one would be surprised. If you don't know how to play against Asuka, you don't have a single fucking chance to win. He auto wins against everyone that doesn't know the matchup. And not only that, he is the hardest matchup in all of fighting games to learn. And even when you learn them, there is basically no thing you can do that automatically like destroys him. You can hit the cubes, you can understand, oh, he has this much mana, he has this many spells he can still cast. But you can't beat them on reaction, really. Like, you can't like punish him for drawing an extra card or charging a bit of mana on reaction. So what you basically need to understand Asuka extremely well to get to the point where you know the RPS on every scenario. But even then, you will still be worse than the Asuka mains who are still learning to get better at this stuff, right? And even when you look at his cards, he can 5D you or 6H you or just like steal a turn another way, like dash up to you or backdash. So like the mental stack he creates on you, it's just absolutely insane. Now, is there a player that will place as well as S-tier Asuka should? Probably not. But what I rank this is kind of like there should have been a player who played Asuka from when he was released to now, like there has been with Chaos, like there has been with Ino, like there has been with, you know, Ram. And if you had played Asuka this entire time and you hadn't made silly rules around like, I will refuse to use test case 2 because I'm a test case 3 player, or I will refuse to block because I want to throw spells. I seriously think that like Asuka is up here and he's just a very hard character that we won't really see utilized to his fullest potential maybe, but he is actually up here strength-wise. We'll see. But I'm going to go with my gut on this one. I think he's somewhere in S. I think Asuka is one of the main benefiters of the game just being lower power level. When Sin can't do Elphelt in neutral and, you know, kill you of a normal hit, and then Asuka gets to draw more spells. When Johnny can't vault as much, when his dash is slower, you know, like when Ram gets less reward from hits, when Leo can't go back from backturn from K buttons, like, all these things help Asuka. All of them, right? Next up, we have my hated Goldlewis. I think the Goldlewis nerfs matter. Super PRC one especially is pretty big in my opinion because he turns his defense from great to average. It's still good because his reward is just absurd and insane, but he does suffer a little bit more. And being able to 6p his JD a bit more is like a surprisingly big nerf because he has to JD. Right? Like, he's not one of those characters, like, Ram JH got nerfed by more than Goldlewis JD, but she doesn't have to use that move ever. And in fighting games, it's really more about what the biggest nerf is when it comes to, like, what does this change on what you have to do? If you change a move like Ram JH, but she never uses JH unless she wants to, then the nerf is not that big, right? Like, all you're doing is playing a little bit different to avoid using it. And then maybe you only use the JH nerf when the nerf wouldn't have mattered. But Goldlewis kind of has to use JDS's core. So that's why I think he falls a little bit more. And he actually did lose a little bit of health as well. But that said, it's still an incredible character. Kind can rob anyone. The Behemoth buff is honestly really noticeable in a lot of matchups. He gets even more damage if he hits you with a Behemoth now, and I feel like they're only going to get better with that one, so could definitely be even higher. This is a very loose tier placement. Next up, we have Leo. I think Leo is actually the best, you know, Shoto outside of Chipp. I kind of forgot to mention when I talked about the others, but I think Leo is still really freaking broken. He just suffers a little bit more from the risk nerf, mainly when he's in front turn. The back turn H nerf is like not even noticeable in my opinion. Like, yeah, it's tiny bit less plus, tiny bit further, but realistically, you're still guessing for your life when you block that shit. You still have to RPS in some way. It's just the RPS is like 50% more in your favor instead of like, you know, 70-30 before it's like 55-45 after blocking back to an H. Honestly, it's not even that much. Yeah, it's maybe like 10% different. I'm almost done, Jenny. I'll hurry up. He lost a decent bit with the Wild Assault changes, but nowhere near enough to where people think that he's somehow bad now, or that, like, you know, oh, he went down like to C tier because, wow, he uses Red Wild Assault like a little bit worse now. Leo can still hit confirm into all of his Wild Assault uses, like 6k hit confirm into Wild Assault, 5Hs. Incredibly strong character. Yeah, honestly just loses out a little bit on the system changes. The character changes themselves were very minor. Also lost Super PRC, but they didn't really use that. Next up, we have Nago. Nago was buffed. I don't understand why they act as if he was nerfed. Nago is another character that when the system is weak, right? When there's no broken Red Wild Assault, White Wild Assault, even though he was one of the best White Wild Assault users, he never needed it. This character is just broken in general, right? Like, he's a super heavy with a command grab that can insta-win you the game, that has Oki on round start against, like, most of the cast, and he's a super heavy, right? Like, he does a metric fuck ton of damage, too. His Blood Rage combos that can kill you from 75% of HP. But he also wins neutral, and he's fast if he has blood, and, like, yeah, I don't know. He's just an eternal top tier. He will never ever be bad, in my opinion. But, like, yes, the Wild Assault change is technically a nerf, White Wild Assaults, but he likes, in basically every matchup that isn't blue, he benefits because Red Wild Assault was very good against him. And other characters using White Wild Assault was good against him. So, you know, it's really only against blue where his Wild Assault is even, you know, like, worse in comparison. And he's one of the biggest benefiters of the risk change too, because how risk works is that you do more damage on single hits, but less damage on long combos. And Nago doesn't do long combos, he does big single hits. All right, so the top 5 or so. I think the top 5 to me are really hard to rank. I don't know who's better here. So this, again, I've thought long about these characters. These are just like guesses, basically, the top 4. We have Chaos, Chipp, and Mei. So I think I'm going to put Mei here just first because let's talk about her. She doesn't have a top level representative right now. Slash is waiting for Blitzcrank. He's no longer with us. I think Mei beats a lot of these characters. You know, she beats Chaos, she beats Chipp. So honestly, she has a very good chance of number 2, in my opinion. Might even be the favorite, but she's just really underrepresented. So that's, you know, adds to how hard it is. She actually got buffed this patch too. Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably say that Mei, in a practical sense, is probably the second best character, but in theory land, she's probably not. Then we have Ram. Ram actually basically did not get nerfed. Somehow, she endures again. Why did she not get nerfed? Well, JH was never essential to her game plan. Wall Assault was never essential to a game plan because turns out she wall breaks from far slash anyway, right? And even if you do want to use Wall Assaults, she never needed it on block, right? Because she has good block strings in general. It definitely would have been nice to have it from far slash, but you know, it's not needed. And she's one of the characters that can confirm into Wall Assault as well. So far slash 5H, 2D into Wall Assault is all confirmable, which is a really big privilege because a character like Mei, if she does far slash, she can't just buffer Wall Assaults all willy-nilly because if it's on block, then it's actually not cancelable anymore. But Ram doesn't really have that issue. She can just confirm it. Ram also doesn't care about the YC changes. Really, really broken because she can still make you block after, you know, you YC her. Sorry, when she YCs you, and she's fast to pull up. But when you YC her, she's very good at jumping away or back-touching away. But overall, the 2D buff is... The 2D buff for Ram and the 2S change for Mei are some of the stupider nerfs. And we're kind of starting to get to the exceptions. You know, like, this patch was good, but... I think it's really weird that Mei 2S is more damage on counter hit than Farsters has less pushback. Like, they really didn't need that. It's really weird that Ram got the best 2K2D now because her K buttons are godlike and she can convert from like crazy ranges with 2K2D now. Her high-low mix is better because of 2K2D. Like, the high option is also better because of 2D. So, I don't know. It's kind of hard to rate her super accurately because she does suffer a little bit from the risk change, in my opinion, but she also benefits from them. But I think she's one of the best characters against Pot, who, spoilers, she is the best. So, having the best matchup in the game against Pot while still losing does tell you a lot about the meta, but at least she might have the best matchup against Pot, if not for Axel. So, it's nice. Next up, I will put Chipp. I think Chipp is a bigger question mark. I think he got the single dumbest change in the game, like in the patch, which is that Chipp 2D no longer has a hurt box, and it's like an insane difference now. It was already an amazing button, and now it's like a broken button that also fixes his biggest issue. And he does a gazillion damage. He benefits from the risk changes because he had a risk modifier, which made him build more risk. He does not care about YRC. His YRC is still basically the same, which is absurd because everyone else's YRC got way worse. And when he gets YRC'd, he doesn't give a shit, right? Like, he can just backdash, right? Yeah, what else to say? Like, he didn't get nerfed noticeably at all. Like, Wall Assault on block, I guess, is like slight nerf to Chipp, but it's really not noticeable because I feel like he never needed it, and he can still confirm into Wall Assault from a lot of hits. Like 2K6P is confirmable. When he whiff punishes, is obviously confirmable, and he's a lot about whiff punishing. The only thing about Chipp is that I think he has the second best matchup spread in the game, but he doesn't have that many matchups, which he just like, he stomps without having to know the matchup, basically. Like, Ram and Mei and Nago are a bit more ignorant. So that definitely helps a little bit that, like, you can random Chipp out still. But yeah, like, Chipp having a broken back to PRC, DP, like, not relying on super PRC when that shit gets removed, like, incredible stuff. I think Chipp is the only character I have any chance of seeing being number one outside of Pot. I don't think he is. I think he's also way harder than Pot. And, you know, he can die. But, like, Chipp still has a lot more left to develop because, you know, he still wasn't pushed that hard in Season 4. Doesn't have that many top players with him still. And was changed a lot because of Rope. So, I think he just has more to develop than Chaos, Ram, Mei, Nago. So he's the only character I could actually see in some reality, but realistically not. Chaos. I don't know if I think Chaos and Chipp are my top two. I played a lot of Chipp this patch. I played a lot of Chaos this patch. Gun to my head, they're the same. Like, it depends on what you want. I think Chipp has more chance to go upwards. Chaos is more representation right now, so it's really whoever you want to pick. I think both of them are like very clearly broken and need nerfs. And they're both characters I play. If I main this game, I like, to be clear, I won't be maining this game. I'm going to main to a scale, which comes out in a couple of days. I would have played Chipp plus Chaos, right? No doubt in my mind. Because there's some matchups where Chipp is better, like versus Ram, and there's some matchups where Chaos is better, such as like Testament. I think for me, I don't really give a shit. So let's just talk about, who's the better about Chaos, and like, because Mei could also be better, right? I don't know. Like, does this really matter? Someone's gonna look at this and be like, wow, he downplays Chaos if I don't put Chaos here. So I guess I put Chaos here, but like, I think the top four are interchangeable. Maybe I want to say top three. Top three interchangeable. S. And everyone's loosely ordered in general. And now for the fun part. So, last patch, Potemkin was here. Potemkin was hit by very clear, significant nerfs. No more super PRC. Hammer falls a little bit slower. Slidehead no longer has armor, and he takes more damage. So we moved him down here. Potemkin is so broken. I'm just gonna remove this. It looks ugly. Potemkin is so broken that the bot players still think he's broken. The pop players are silent on social media. You know how rare that is? You know how much they know they got away with it? When the pop players aren't bitching about his character being bad? Pot does not have a single even matchup in this game. So strike me down, God, if I'm wrong, bro. I will look through this cast. Dog shit. Like, maybe in a perfect world, but no. Dog shit, dog shit, dog shit, dog shit, dog shit. Like, Pot just stomps all of these characters. Dog shit, dog shit, dog shit, dog shit, dog shit, dog shit. Like, Johnny was one of the only characters that even had an argument, and he's now gone down 2 tiers. Dog shit, dog shit, dog shit, dog shit. Like, all these matchups are just like 6-4s or better for Pot. It's just fucking ridiculous. Soul can't do anything. Kai can't do anything. Millia can't do anything. Anji, entire character gets countered by grabs. Fucking Asuka flick deletes everything. What the fuck is Goldlewis supposed to do against Pop 5P and Far Slash without his JD? What can Leo do? What can Nago do? What can anyone? No one can beat this character, man. No one can beat this fucking character. No one even has an even matchup versus this character. Pot is so broken that I feel bad for Goldlewis in the Pot matchup. Like, how is that possible, man? The top 3 all lose really bad. The top 4. The entire cast loses the Pot. The entire cast. Thank you, Super Noob, for the raid. Astounded the Pot isn't winning every tournament ever. Now ask yourself, can you name a Pop player who plays Strive who has won anything before he became broken? Before Wild Assault, before, in another game, like maybe they win in fucking Eunice or Blaze Blue. That is still doing well. Snake Eyes, he's not. Fab is not doing well, and Snake Eyes is not playing the game anymore. Andros was not doing well before Season 4. And like, I'm not saying that every pot player is like Giga carry. What I'm saying is there aren't many good pot players who actually try to get better at the game. When you run into a pot, and every single Strive player I know will verify this. When you run into a pot, they will be like level like 15,000, just spamming Celestial Game, doing Gold Burst on your like wake up, right? Not as a defensive thing, as an offensive Gold Burst, and just like laugh and troll. And these people are still extremely hard to beat, right? The worst thing to see in ranked is a 1400 elo pipe bomb, because you know you can't consistently beat pot. Can you put pot 2 tiers above again? He's only 1 tier above. The problem is that the only reason pot players lost before was because they honestly didn't even felt like they were trying. And I still don't even see the pot players practice right now much. Like practice Potemkin much. So maybe they won't try now either. But basically, if they ever actually give a shit about this game and actually practice a lot, I think, you know, if more good players would play pot, I think he would dominate still. You know, he's not 2 tiers above everyone else anymore, so someone picking up pot might not win a major until next month. Something. But, yeah, he's the best. Honestly, he's also the reason for me why, like, for me, he's the reason why I don't give a shit about this game competitively still. Even though it's so much better, even though it's possible to beat current pot players, I know that if I wanted to seriously try win at this game, I should play pot. And I don't want to do that. There's not money in this game. There's no reason for me to play a game where the best character is Potemkin. If I want to play a game where the best character is a grappler, I'll just play 2 SKO and play Blitzcrank myself, right? Not only that, but Potemkin is just absurdly cancer. And they didn't nerf like any of his best tools. Flick got buffed. Flick, which is literally, when I ask other top players and they say, so what do you do against Flick? How do you play Flick against Flick? It's a full screen button with no whiff recovery. And the answer I get back every time is, I hope they forget that it exists. I hope they try to press other buttons. It's Flick is not only a broken footsie button, by the way, it deletes the purpose of like 7 characters who all sewn with projectiles. And they buffed it. They made it so you can't 6B it in block strings anymore. Amazing. Yeah, they didn't nerf Gigantor at all. The best move in the game. They didn't nerf Potbuster, the best move in the game. Yeah, he has a couple of those. 5P still hits the entire screen. Heat Knuckle still guard crushes. Garuda still broken. 5P still safe jabs. Mega Fist now gives a full combo because not a full combo on the system counter, just a better combo because he needed compensation nerfs. The slide head nerf does not matter as much as they want it to be. You still use slide head a lot. They were like, oh, it's the worst move in the game, and then they use it 4 times around. Like, no, it's not bad. It's a full screen knockdown, and you're the character that wins of 1 knockdown. The biggest thing with Pot 2 is that you get meter for how much you get hit in this game. Potemkin, even though pot players don't block, should be blocking a lot, right? Because they just build meter, and then he doesn't have an actual reversal now. But they should still be blocking, but now he doesn't build risk, so you can't kill Pot. More often after you make Pot block, he will be able to return to neutral now than before, which means that there are more times where you hit Pot 14 times. He lives because you need 15 hits to kill him. He does a gigantic highs and then wins the game on default for losing. Yeah, then nerf 5k, then nerf 2p. Then nerf 5h giving hard knockdown. He still gets Oki on Potbuster, by the way. I don't know. He's still the best. No question. Like, literally none. And it's sad, but it do be like that. It do be like that. What did they nerf now on Pot? When you play against him, you don't even feel it, man. That's the crazy part. He's also the best blue wall salt user. So the fact that other characters lost red wall salt and white wall salt is obviously a benefit for him. Yeah, basically Hammerfall is probably the biggest nerf. But it only really matters at really far distances. And the thing is, he destroys all the sonars anyway. So any character that wants to stand full screen against Hammer, like against Pot, he just beats because of Flick. So like the nerf doesn't matter enough where it should. They weren't even doing Kara Hammerfall before. Can I name all 10 anti-zoning tools? I'll spare myself. Potemkin is that goated, yeah. Yeah, there are scenarios where his Oki is a little bit worse. If he pop busters with his back to the corner and 0 meter, so he doesn't build 50, then he has slightly worse Oki. Still good, still broken Oki. By the way, he can still kill you for being right on everything. If you backdash, he can kill you for that. If you fuzzy jump, he can kill you for that. But slightly better. Slightly for the defender. But if it's corner pop buster, if he builds meter, which he always fucking does, then it doesn't matter. Loki's the same. He's still clearly the best character in the game. And while also being the most toxic character in the game. It's really incredible. You can very easily tell that the designers of this game still play pot. Anyway, I think that's it for the tier list. I don't know what we're gonna do now. I guess we could play some more ranked, but I don't know if we're gonna get that many matches. One thing I was thinking about is there's a 2SKO website, right? I wanted to see if they have the moveset for every character. Oh my.